Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable, a.k.a. Monty Ossenford. He's Brack, a.k.a. Monty Ossenford. And it's Mock Draft Tuesday. Let's pick some players, Brack.
That's right. It's the full Monty today. We're going to be breaking down Dane Brugler's big old Mock Draft 2.0 plus. We're going to dabble with our own Monty mock draft. See where we go. Which way would Monty Ossenford go with his draft wins in our latest mock draft here on PHNX Cardinals? Can't wait. So we made sure to kind of shine up our heads and look as Monty as possible today.
Yeah, I think we're having some issues with Bo's mic, or a.k.a. Monty's mic. We're going to get that fixed up here, just like we're going to fix up the Arizona Cardinals 53-man roster. It's a good day. It's a good day to pick some players. Listen, I'm not going to talk about the fact that the Houston Texans pick is down to 27. I didn't even know that was effing possible after watching last night's game. I was thoroughly enjoying my guy Todd Bowles kick the holy hell out of Nick Sirianni and the fraudulent Eagles' asses. Then I looked this morning, and supposedly we had talked about this on the show yesterday. I didn't comprehend it. The Cardinals pick has fallen from 26 to 27, but we're not going to focus on that today. Yeah. This is a positive day.
It is a positive day. We don't just dress up like Monty Ossenford to put our heads down and feel doom and gloom. We don't do that. Monty Ossenford is always locked in and ready to roll and look forward.
That's right. We take our setbacks in stride, a la the tampering issue that came last year when we had to move back a couple spots in the third. That's just like what we're dealing with today. 27 pick be damn. We are here to talk about the marquee names in the 2024 NFL draft and how they relate to the Arizona Cardinals. We will finish the show, cap it with our own mock draft here on a Mock Draft Tuesday. But speaking of mock drafts, you teed it up, Brack. Dane Brugler of The Athletic, NFL analyst, draft insider, aficionado, released his mock draft 2.0 today, to which we had a peek, we had a dabble. What would you like our viewers to know, Mr. Brack?
Look, we got to take a look at what Dane did as far as the Arizona Cardinals 2-round haul. Now, this is something you're going to have to take with a grain of salt, no doubt about it, because when you look at Dane Brugler's, mock draft from last year at this time, it wasn't exactly accurate, but we got a long draft season to go. I mean, we're not even at the true beginning of the offseason. We've got the divisional round, we got the conference championship round, and we got this game called the Super Bowl, all to be played, along with some college all-star games, including the Senior Bowl that Damon and I will be in attendance, and we probably will leave the bald caps behind at that point. We'll leave them on the table. But as far as, we got a long way to go and a lot to learn about these prospects before, decisions are made.
I don't like this comment here from Adonis MF. Looks natural for Johnny. If I don't have my hair, I have nothing. I'm 5'6.5". I need my hair. Please don't put that evil on me. So you guys, Jobo never looked so good. You got that right. You got that damn right. This mock draft, could it look better? I think it could. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't love the results of this mock draft. I texted you earlier today. It's not just because a certain Hall of Fame caliber prospect receiver was not available, but then just subsequently the other two picks, I think you issued it well when we were texting back and forth, always on the grind. Like, they're a little underwhelming. Like, it didn't feel like the Cardinals got that primo hold that they need to get to jumpstart this team. And I think a lot of people will feel the same way after we show these results.
With the draft capital the Arizona Cardinals have, we're on the dating app and we're just trying to connect with 10s right now. That's all we want. We might have like our aspirations way too high, and but I think Dane Brugler's mock draft, it connected us with 5s and 6s, and it might be good long term, and it might be girlfriend material, boyfriend material, maybe even husband wifey.
Yeah.
And it could but I think as far as the group of players and the prospects that he connected with the Arizona Cardinals, can you take me serious with the bald cap on?
Yeah.
It's reliable with some electricity to it. Okay. A little bit of electricity, but it's not the allure of the 10s out there. It's never going to go away. And to not come away with one of them in this draft would be tough. But at the same time, I wouldn't lose all trust in Monty Ossenford. I would still wear this proudly and feel like the direction of this organization is going the right way.
Alex with the super chat $1.99, PHNX Cardinals in prime offseason mode. This is when we thrive, Alex. This is when we layer it brick by brick, show by show, to give you exactly what you need this offseason. You may not have thought that you needed this today, but you're gonna sit back for the next hour and be like, man, that I'm full now of entertainment, draft goodness, and of course your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. So enough. We digressed enough here. Let's look at Dane Brugler's mock draft 2.0, the top 10, producer extraordinaire, Damon Dog, who's I think gonna rock the same Monty Ossenford look here in a little bit. This is what we got going on. Caleb Williams, of course, to Chicago. That looks more and more indefinite by the day. I don't care who they're interviewing for their OC job. Cliff Kingsbury be damned. Drake May, of course, number 2 to Washington. This is when things get a little sticky for me. Marvin Harrison Jr., 3rd overall to the Patriots. Cardinals take Malik Nabers. Here's what Dane Brugler had to say. Basically, I'm paraphrasing, said the gap between Harrison and Nabers, and I know a lot of people in the chat have supported this, is very thin. Emphasis on very thin.
Yeah.
Now, Harrison's a better prospect, so it's like our guy, Brad Spielberger, Trevor Sikkema said, if one of them's a 1A, the other's 1B, you're looking at if Nabers is a 99 overall, or excuse me, Harrison Jr. is a 99 overall, Nabers is maybe a 95 and 96 overall. I mean, look at his numbers. He had that kind of year. He's explosive. So, like, that doesn't turn me off. But now you look at the rest of this top half of the top 10, or excuse me, bottom half. Brock Bowers at 5. Roma Dunze at 6. So he's got 3 wide receivers going in the top 6. What do you make of that?
He's got 3 wide receivers and just 2 quarterbacks. Right now, like, I didn't like his rationale for why he went Marvin Harrison Jr. 3, because I think that the New England Patriots are more at a crossroads than ever before. And to think that they would just shrug off the potential of getting a quarterback at 3 just because they would go best player available. And we know how talented Marvin Harrison Jr. is, but I don't buy it. And then having Daniels all the way down here at 8, where, we got guys like Benjamin Albright, who's dialed in just as much as Dane Brugler. Brugler's more from a talent evaluation standpoint.
Correct.
More so than, getting insight from organizations and which way they might be leaning. So there's a big difference there. So, Benjamin Albright has Daniels as a top 5 lock at this point. So to see him drop down to 8, we're not getting into crazy seasons, starting to predict trades or whatever, but, I just think that this is a real rough draft. And I think that there's going to be a lot of red ink on this thing after it's all said and done, even though it's all due respect to Dane Brugler, because the insight as far as who these prospects are, it's you'd be hard pressed to find better.
Yeah, it made me feel good, not great, as it relates to Malik Nabers. And are we going to get to a point where, I would love to get to a point where Malik Nabers and Marvin Harrison Jr. were Julio Jones and AJ Green circa 2011 or whenever that was. Yeah, 2011, with Patrick Peterson was mixed in there. Remember that? Like, AJ Green, he didn't have Marvin Harrison Jr. momentum, but it did feel like from the fall up until the spring, AJ Green out of Georgia was the quintessential wide receiver 1. Everybody knew about AJ Green. When did everybody know about Julio Jones? That was like the early days of the Bama dynasty, and Julio Jones went to the combine. I remember he took over the combine. It's the greatest combine performance, I think, of the last 15, 20 years, that one that he had. I remember, like, my wife, who, despises all this offseason stuff in terms of the combine, keyed in on Julio Jones for obvious reasons that day. I mean, it was an athletic marvel, right? And so you think back to that, and those two, I would say, are on Hall of Fame trajectories. Maybe I think Julio Jones gets in for sure. Hopefully, very good to Hall of Fame for AJ Green. So considering that, AJ Green went 4th overall, and Julio Jones went like 7th. Remember in that trade up by Atlanta? Are we going to hopefully see the same thing here? Because I think unequivocally Marvin Harrison Jr. is a better prospect. But time after time now, we've talked to 3 people or heard from 3 people at least that have said Malik Nabers is a top 5 prospect. Malik Nabers is the number 1 receiver in any other class. Last year's class, the year before, is he competing with, Jamar Chase in that? I know they came from the same university, but I just feel like I was not prepared for Malik Nabers to have this sudden rise to unequivocal. It feels like Malik Nabers is a top 5 lock at this point, does it not?
Well, it's getting crowded, right? And somebody's not going to have the name called
for 10 players.
But and I to some extent, I'm going to change out of my loafers and I'm going to put on some tennis shoes and I'm going to put on a nice comfortable sweater. I'm going to ask you, won't you be my neighbors? Won't you join Malik Nabers' hood? Absolutely.
Please,
I mean, you should get on board.
Everybody.
Trevor Sikkema and Brad Spielberg are saying if Marvin Harrison wasn't in this draft class, Malik Nabers would be the top guy. As you said that multiple times today. But, 4, when I look at 4, and I see a lot of people in the chat, and I've seen people in my replies when I posted something about Nabers today, and just an unbelievable run that he had over a 10-game stretch this season in the SEC where he had, an unbelievable run where he had 1,300 yards receiving and 13 touchdowns. The bulk of his performance this year was over 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns, breaking records at LSU, which has not been short of talent at that position, from Odell Beckham to Jamar Chase to Justin Jefferson. Malik Nabers is putting up numbers that people haven't before. But when I see it 4th overall, and how the draft dominoes fall, at least in Dane Brugler's mock draft, and it's not the gospel, but at the same time, I'll put some sort of validity into it, that if the Arizona Cardinals are staring down that position, I sure as hell hope that they trade down, or they do look at the tackles as well.
I've conditioned myself to assume it would be a tackle, and now Malik Nabers has officially entered the conversation. And his numbers are absurd. Like we talked about, he had 1,600 yards receiving, 18 yards per catch, 14 touchdowns. Here's what I like. He had 2 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons with Jaden Daniels. And we know Jaden Daniels has his limitations, going to be a top 5 QB. But I think we'd all agree Kyler Murray better throw the football than Jaden Daniels. And I get it. It's SEC, it's college football, and there's some crazy numbers, but that makes me feel better than one-year wonder guy in the Big Ten or the Pac-12 that went off against guys who aren't going to play in the league. Like, we know the defensive back play in the SEC is elite.
Yeah.
Malik Nabers had 1,000-yard receiving season in the SEC for Brian Kelly when he was 19 years old. That's insane.
Yeah.
20 years old this year. He had 1,600 yards and was, I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best prospect, but he had more yards than Marvin, I believe, this year. So that's not the end all.
Malik Nabers didn't have a Hall of Fame dad. Malik Nabers isn't 6'3". That's I think those are the 2 strikes against Malik Nabers that you almost can't hold against him. Like, he didn't come from this Hall of Fame pedigree.
He's emerged.
Right. He has emerged, and he's done it. Kind of a self-made guy. And that's not to take away anything from Marvin Harrison Jr., but the problem with Marvin Harrison Jr. is, realistically, you do have 3 teams standing between you and Marvin Harrison Jr., but then you're staring down, 4th overall. And then you're also staring down, is Malik Nabers the next best wide receiver in this draft? Because, we go back and forth on Twitter and we have these conversations, somebody pointed out a chart from Theo Ash, kind of comparing the 3 top wide receivers in this draft of Harrison Jr. and Nabers and Rome Odunze, and also put in Keon Coleman, who I think this chart will maybe make cool on Keon Coleman. But look at this. As far as from catches to yards to touchdowns to yards per route run, contested target rate, how often they're getting open, and how often they're going up against corners, and then their contested catch rate, total EPA, success rate, drop percentage. Look at these guys. You look at Rome Odunze's number and you're like, he's him, right? And then you look at what Nabers did and you pit him versus Marvin Harrison Jr. and then what these guys project about. This, if you don't get Marvin Harrison Jr., the next 2 guys, not a bad consolation prize.
Rome Odunze's yards per reception is the dumbest shit I've ever seen. It's like 20 yards per catch.
Yeah.
Now, I like the Pac-12. RIP the Pac-12. It's dead now. It's not the SEC. And Marvin, Marvin's a generational prospect. We'll put him off to the side for a second because I think we both agree he's the blue chip of the blue chips. He's the 1%er. I still would go with Malik Nabers over Rome Odunze just based on better conference, younger. They both had, though, top quarterbacks, Michael Penix Jr. and Jaden Daniels. So I think either would be a fit for the Cardinals. But then you have to consider also, and you touched on it, like I've heard from people close to the team, like they know they need a tackle now. Not desperately, but more than they thought initially because they were prepared. And I have this pretty well sourced to run it back with DJ Humphries next year. Like they were going to let this draft play to their advantage, and maybe there'd been a market for DJ after the draft, but DJ Humphries was going to be on this team, and now he's not on this team. And I think I saw something, maybe I retweeted, I can't remember who it was from, but the tackle depth is significant, whereas the tackle depth in the top 10 is of quality, but maybe the drop off isn't as steep as we think. Whereas the receivers, to your point, when you show Keon Coleman, he's not in the same class as those other guys.
Right.
I need this team to find the left tackle of the future or right tackle. It does feel like exiting the top 10 without securing one of these three receivers might be a mistake.
If you are going to go the route of the Bengals, you have to understand what the ramifications are. And when I say that with Jamar Chase, that you're going to probably either have to hit later in the draft at the tackle position, which is, we've heard from multiple people in the know, from Baldy to Sycamore, that it's a deep tackle class, but still like going from prospect to pro, sometimes easier said than done. But it hasn't exactly worked out. Like it worked out as far as the passing attack and the ability to make big plays and the maturation of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase being well worth the 5th overall selection. But then you look at another team that's making a run finally, and they ate their vegetables a little bit, and they sat back and they take Penei Sewell and coupled him with another top selection type guy and Taylor Decker, and it's worked out really well for them and built their lines, right? But then let's not discount that they hit on a first-round caliber wide receiver talent in the 4th round in Amon-Ra St. Brown, and that really helps out. And that's what it's going to have to, like, wherever, Monty Ossenfort, our brethren, our bald-headed, our bald eagle 1 to our bald eagle 2 and 3, he's going to have to hit on some of these positions beyond the 1st round. And that's just going to be the reality of this team building. But he's going to be well equipped with picks in each and every round. I mean, they've got a plethora of picks. So, when we look at this, like the receptions, and you got, Nabers leading the way over Odunze and Marvin Harrison Jr. And Nabers had 89, Rome had 87. You had MHJ with 67. But then you also take into consideration like who their quarterbacks were. Like you said, the Pac-12 versus the Big Ten versus the SEC. So you're looking at it and you're still like, what now you're going with what GMs and scouts are struggling with and how, you really do evaluate it to translate to the NFL level.
Rome Odunze is a year older than Malik Nabers. That has to come into consideration. He played in a weaker conference. I think in a perfect world, if you can't get Marvin at 4, and that makes me physically ill speaking those words, but if that becomes reality, you need to find a way to trade down and get one of the 2 tackles or one of the 2 wide receivers. And then you and I can do this. We can say, job well done, Monty Ossenfort, improve the team elsewhere. Yeah. But if sticking and picking at 4, to your point, I love these players. Feels like a little bit of a failure to me. You need to make teams feel a sense of urgency to draft Jaden Daniels. And I don't like these mocks.
Yeah.
Because Jaden Daniels falling to 8 is not good for business if I'm Monty Ossenfort. It's not. And I tend to believe somebody
you are like Monty Ossenfort.
I am. And me. I don't like it. I don't like it. Here's what I do like, though. So I have it referenced here. We're not going to have it on screen. But let me read to you Dane Brugler's mock draft 2.0 this time last year. And you tell me the hit rate on some of these picks.
Okay.
So we can feel a little bit better about the reality we're facing right now.
But I don't want people, and I'm gonna preface this. I don't want people to discredit Dane Brugler in the work that, like I said, he's in the insight game. He's providing you insight on these players, and like I expect his mock draft to get exponentially better closer to mock draft or like draft date. So, but this is just giving you context where he was in 23 before that draft at this time last year, and for where he is today with his 2.0 that he dropped this morning.
There's one player that's not in this top 10, and there's one player that's in this top 10 that shows you how quickly narratives can change. So this was before the Carolina Panthers had traded up. So he had in this mock the Indianapolis Colts trading up with Chicago to take Bryce Young first overall. So Bryce Young goes 1 of 1. That's not surprising. Here's what's surprising. He had Houston taking Will Levis second overall.
Yeah.
So think about that. Will Levis ended up torpedoing his draft stock.
Whoops.
Based on turning people off, frankly, off the field during draft season, something we don't expect from Jaden Daniels. And he fell to the second round to Tennessee. And the Cardinals helped Tennessee secure Will Levis. The Cardinals then took Will Anderson Jr. The Chicago Bears at 4 took Jalen Carter. So again, he's playing in the sandbox where a lot of these players were around. This was before, obviously, the Jalen Carter off the field concerns started. The Panthers, coincidentally, in a cruel joke now, took C.J. Stroud at number 5, Bo Brock. The Detroit Lions, via the Rams, took Christian Gonzalez, who ended up going like in the middle of the teens. The Las Vegas Raiders at 7 took Paris Johnson Jr., so I'll give him credit. A lot of people had Peter Skoronski or Darnell Wright. He had Paris Johnson Jr. as the number 1 tackle dating back to last January. So speaking of Skoronski, Atlanta took Skoronski at 8. Seattle took Tyree Wilson, and the Saints took Joey Porter Jr. So again, no Devin Witherspoon, no Anthony Richardson. So I think for the most part, I would give that probably a C for accuracy. Like he had most of the major players. Here's what I will say. The major players, let's see the Brugler mock draft one more time if we could, Damon Dog, the one he released today. I'm going to make a prediction right now. I feel confident Drake May, Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers, Joel and Alu Fashanu, and Jaden Daniels are going to be top 10 to 12 picks. I think you can cement that now. There's nothing I could see happening outside of injury that those guys are going to fall out of the top 12. Consistently, when you look at their tape compared to other guys, you would really have to talk yourself into another player at those, certainly at those positions. No other wide receiver, no other tackle is just going to emerge, right? We've been knowing about these players, specifically Alt and Fashanu and May and Caleb and Marvin, for 6 to 8 months. So I think that we have much more clarity this year, but it's going to come down to what are the teams going to prioritize between now and April that's going to switch the names up, because I think the names are here to stay. I really do.
Yeah, it's you're not going to, like, I don't think Jaden Daniels is going to fall out of the first round like Will Levis did.
No.
Right?
I mean, just won the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah. And he's
got flipping hot right now.
Yep, no doubt about it. So there is a little bit easier way to kind of forecast the top 10, and then you're going to have movers and shakers. Like he made this mock draft before Chicago had even traded out at the top pick, and Carolina made the wrong move, right? So Justin McNutt, I call them Monty Mees.
I got Damon laughing pretty hard. Let's get to some of these super chats. Richard, $1.99. IAT.
I think Atlanta.
Okay, Atlanta trade New England to get Jaden. Your thoughts? I think you Richard, are barking up our tree where if New England doesn't stick and pick with a quarterback, their best route is to go Cardinals circa last year and try to get multiple ones from another team. And you could say, well, why aren't the Cardinals taking Jaden Daniels? Why didn't the Bears take a quarterback last year? I think they knew they needed a lot of help. And that's our argument, our biggest argument, why, as much as we love these receiver prospects, New England would be stupid, idiotic to just say, we're going to stick and pick. Our roster needs everything. We're going to go with a wide receiver or a tackle.
Right.
Now I heard something today. I can't reveal it on air. I think that the Los Angeles Chargers are going to go offensive line. They're not going to take Brock Bowers. So I'm just putting that out there. I think they're going to go offensive. I think they're going to take an offensive tackle.
Whoever's available, probably
Yeah.
best prospect, or whoever they identify as their top tackle. And look, I mean, they made this heavy investment in Justin Herbert, and you're going to have to obviously pay mortgage payments on this huge house you just bought. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa and Keenan Allen. I think all guys making north of $30 million in cap hits the next couple of seasons. So you got to get players at premium positions for a value price. And that makes sense at the tackle position, not tight end. So
the person that's going to be, the person that's going to be pulling the trigger on what that could look like, the shape of their team.
Yeah.
Wants quality offensive linemen.
Yeah.
And it's and they have Mike Williams. They have Keenan Allen still. They're not going to throw the talent on Quentin Johnston. I feel very confident the Chargers are going to go offensive line with the 5th pick if they themselves don't trade out. But I think if they stick and pick, it's going to be Olu Fashanu or Joe Alt.
That puts, 2 wide receivers down the board a little bit. It doesn't put, the Chargers in a position. You're not in Brock Bowers' business, no matter, me pumping him up as a prospect months ago, and you guys will never let me forget that, especially my co-host. But if the Arizona Cardinals do trade down with a quarterback hungry team, potentially within the top 10 or just on the outside looking in, they're still going to be in a prime position potentially to get a tackle or a wide receiver. So, I think that Nabers has certainly narrowed the gap, and he has the skill set this draft season to take off even more so like a rocket as far as his stock, right? And to be mocked at 4 in February is still, or January, it's early, but I think that he absolutely is going to do everything to put him in the conversation. Like, I don't think he'll never unseed a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. It's just going to see like what the prior draft dominoes are going to fall before the actual draft happens at the end of April to put Malik Nabers in a potential to be a top 5 pick. And he fully has that ability to do it. And then I think you got Rome, and you're talking like, what your preference is as far as, I think you like Marvin Harrison Jr. is the top prospect. And then you figure out your scouting and what you're looking for in a wide receiver between Rome Odunze and Malik Nabers.
Who does Malik Nabers remind you of in the NFL? Because I think I'm not reaching when I say that he reminds me of somebody that both Austin Ford and Jonathan Gannon are very familiar with in A.J. Brown. Just over 6 foot.
Yeah, I think he's got a little Debo in him as well. I don't know if he's as physical, but as far as, people, I don't understand the knock on his size. He's anywhere from 6 to 6'1", and he's about 190. Debo's a little bit bigger, 200. Same thing with A.J. Brown. He's a young kid. He's going to be able to bulk up a little bit.
He's stout.
And he is.
And he's got big time yards after catch ability. I say that just because everything imploded in Tennessee, literally, when they traded away A.J. Brown, and Philadelphia got to the Super Bowl with him.
Yeah.
And so I'm infatuated with number 18. We all understand that. He's the number 1 player on our board here at PHNX Cardinals. That, to Bo's point, that doesn't mean that one of these other wideouts, in fact, it's probably likely that one of these other wideouts is going to hit big too.
Yeah. I do want to hear the rest of the haul that the Cardinals get, because he did do a 2-round mock draft.
He did.
What they did with that effing 27th overall pick and then the second. And we'll get into it, right? You want to?
Yeah, we'll touch on that. But, okay. Listen, if you're anxious for draft season like us, well, first of all, number 1, it's here. But also, I love dabbling on the DraftKings Sportsbook app throughout the entire NFL offseason. So we've got big-time games this week in the divisional round. Some call it the chef's kiss, the best round of the NFL playoff season. I happen to agree. But also, they've got draft promotions coming up. You can bet, wager on the NFL draft, tons of good stuff, coaching odds, whatever you want to do it with our friends at DraftKings, the official sports betting partner of the NFL playoffs. They're going to help you make this weekend's round of playoffs simply electrifying. New customers can bet just $5 on any game, get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Again, it's a call to action. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You got to use PHNX as the bonus code. Tell them PHNX Cardinals sent you. New customers, 5-spot on the NFL, $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only with our friends at DraftKings. The crown is yours. Brack. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.1800gambler.net. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problems gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. 21 plus, age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire. They do expire 186 hours after they issue. Check them out right now. Copyright NFL 2024. All rights reserved.
Very professional read. Last time Monty Ossenfort was doing work in the NFL draft, you and I, we were comfortably sitting with our great friends at our own draft party at Four Peaks. Love Four Peaks. When I was living out of town, every time I would come back to Arizona, I was going to Four Peaks, meeting up with buddies, having a great time, drinking all the great beer that they have brewed on location, from their Raj IPA to their Wow Wheat. Is that a brand new can for the wheat? I haven't even seen that yet. That looks legit.
Tremendous.
The Wow Wheat.
That art is nuts.
That is beautiful. You got the Redbird Lager. You got the Kilt Lifter. They're rebranding some of these cans. They look great.
That Kilt Lifter one's new too.
Four Peaks even has a little bit of a new twist on our logo. Looking great. I love the rebranding. Don't touch the good stuff, the beer, and they don't. They just do that right. They've been doing it right for 26 years now. If you haven't checked it out for yourself already, do it now. Go to 8th Street in Tempe. Go to your local Circle K. Go to your grocery store. Get a 6-pack of your favorite beer or what's going to be your favorite beer. Check out fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. Check out at Four Peaks Brew and at Four Peaks Pub. Keep up with the latest on Arizona's premier craft brewery, Four Peaks. Got to be 21 years older to drink, and we ask that you do it responsibly.
We'll be responsible and call out the rest of this mock draft from Dane because it's not my fave. It's not my favorite. It's not because of Malik Nabers, but the rest of these picks, especially who was on the board, Brock. So let's look. Malik Nabers, 4th overall, 27, which makes me want to vomit in my mouth. Sue Matia, offensive tackle.
Yeah.
Nice player from BYU, Brigham Young University. To me, though, I think a big-time project for the Cardinals. I don't see him starting right away. And then at 35, Chop Robinson at edge rusher. Jerzon Newton, the defensive tackle at Illinois, was available and went 28th overall. So I look at this as a little bit of a letdown, certainly a letdown after the 4th overall pick.
I mean, the positions are what you would like, right? Wide receiver, tackle, edge. 2 or 3 premium positions. Wide receiver, as you and I both agree, that's a fringe premium position, especially when you're talking about wide receiver 1. I think that those guys are absolutely premium players. But yeah, this is the battle for the mid. As far as this mock draft, you've got the probably top 2 receiver, great, but you missed out on the top guy. And then you got Kingsley from BYU, who's I see him as a top 10 tackle, and you're taking him 27th overall. Like, he's at the back end of a top 10 tackle. Like, that's a reach for me. And then Chop Robinson, like, you can find people that make the case that Chop Robinson's a top 3 edge, but this is not a deep edge class. I don't love this. To say I don't love it is an understatement.
It feels chalk, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it feels very chalk.
There just isn't any shine on this class. It could be a part, obviously, of the long-term solution, what you're looking for. Guys that are going to upgrade the roster, no doubt about it. But I don't think that there's any value really in any of these picks. Like, I think all of them are reaches.
You think where they're drafted right now is a reach at 4?
Right now, like I really think that he's already making the case. I just need more persuasion to do so.
So who do you have ahead of Malik Nabers? Because I know you're an Olu Fashanu guy.
Well, I think
got him at 10.
Here's like I think Malik Nabers is entering that debate, right, between Fashanu, the top tackle, whoever you have as your top tackle in this class. Malik Nabers is, the consolation prize of Marvin Harrison Jr. But I also think that what we said earlier, trading down for more assets and then taking, you know, what's available. Like, I think that especially with how that draft board like how it was going and Jaden Daniels being on the board, and you just sit tight and Monty's not getting on his phone again and not making and wheeling and dealing. Like, I think that you're not doing your roster building. You're doing it a disservice. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. But I don't know if what the criteria was. Like, does Dane not do trades at this point in his mock draft? I don't know.
He was doing them last year.
Yeah.
But I don't think he felt the need to do it this year because maybe he doesn't love Jaden Daniels. And if Dane doesn't love Jaden Daniels, I have a problem with that. That's a mistake, in my opinion, for these teams that feel like
somebody was saying in the chat that Daniel Jeremiah, who is the leading draft expert right now, that he had 3 quarterbacks going in the top 4.
There you go.
And it's Daniels. I mean, there's nobody else, I think, really in the conversation. I mean, Michael Penix Jr. is going to the Senior Bowl he's going to do everything he can to boost his draft stock. But
he had Bo Nix going outside the top or outside the first round, just outside the first round.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're one of these teams that need a quarterback, I saw today Russell Wilson being kicked around for the Vikings if they don't secure Kirk Cousins. It's just like, you want to be living in that reality? I wouldn't, especially if I'm a new coach. Saddle yourself with an aging veteran. It's the surest way to get yourself fired. If you're the Patriots or you're the Giants, like if you're Brian Dable, when are you going to get another shot at this with a top 10 quarterback? If you're the Atlanta Falcons and you're Bill Belichick,
right?
If he gets that job, these middling franchises.
Well, there's arrogance. There's arrogance involved.
There is. For sure.
They're naive. Like, you usually take, like, look at Carson Wentz. Like, how many organizations did he just leave in his wake that thought, hey, we see the skill set, we see previous proof of performance.
Yeah.
And they won't look at the, you know, in this league, it's usually, what have you done for me lately? And not like, hey, here's your entire resume and you could do it again. Like Baker Mayfield's bucking that trend, right? But he seems to be a little bit part of the exception of that, right? And he took a master performance from Todd Bowles in that Bucs defense last night.
Also, you play in the NFC South. That's not real football.
And beat the shit out of the team that was playing the worst football in the NFL last night in the Eagles. So, yeah, I mean, like, somebody's gonna think Russell Wilson's gonna be their solution. Somebody's gonna look, you know, at some of these other quarterbacks. Like, somebody's gonna look at Ryan Tannehill and say, hey, maybe we'll take a flyer on him and maybe he could be our starter for like, we got a good defense in place, we got some playmakers, we just need, you know, a game manager. But there's a ceiling, and some ceilings are shorter than the others.
Austin M, $4.99 super chat. Assuming Marvin Harrison Jr. is gone at 4, what's your first round picks? Would you rather get Alton Coleman type wide receiver or go Nabers tier 2 tackle? It's a great question. Love the show. Go Cards. Yeah. Thank you so much, Austin. Appreciate the support in the super chat as always, my guy. I mean, we just kind of did that.
I like the latter. I think Nabers and a tier 2 tackle, no doubt about it. I take that over.
But you just said that you feel like Nabers is rich for number 4. Are you going to be disappointed at this point if they don't trade down from 4 if Marvin's not there?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's the play. I mean, I think that.
But are we setting ourselves up for disappointment if that's the case?
Always.
Yeah,
always.
I'm already going to be disappointed. I'll be dead already.
We lead with our hearts.
Yeah,
and you know, when we're putting it all out there, you're going to get hurt sometimes, Johnny, and. you go home and you shine your head
in your sleeve, you old softy.
You get a good shave on the top of your head and you get it gleaning up real nice, and then you put yourself back out there.
What's going on here?
You got a lot wrinkler head than I do.
I think I have the benefit or lack thereof.
Yeah, mine looks like an old football helmet. I look like I'm about to run the wishbone.
Mine looks like something that's going to get us demonetized here on YouTube. Joel, $1.99 super chat. That mock seems like a Keim draft. You know what it kind of does. It smells like a big Keim dump, doesn't it? I saw that this morning and I was just like, something's off here. I don't see the impact. Like, the kid out of BYU feels like a fringe starter at best. Chop Robinson, bust Robinson, 4 sacks this year in the Big Ten. Every time I watch Penn State play a real offensive line, they got their ass road graded. So I'm with you, Joel. Like Nabers could be a star for sure, but the rest of that, it's just give me Jerzon Newton at 27. Then we're cooking with something.
It feels like reaching for needs a little bit too much.
It's very much so. Very much so.
Yeah. Tay, my PHNX boy, is looking like Vin Diesel stunt doubles. Look, we're all about family here. Family. That's why we all just need to say it in unison by the end of the show.
Yes.
But we gotta get down to our muscle shirts.
Oh, I love this from Big Bird 92. More like chopped liver. That's my kind of humor right there. I fucking love that. Fishbowl Flash, $5. If Marvin Harrison Jr. is gone, what if the Cardinals trade back with the Raiders at 13? Ooh, this is spicy. For this year's first, a 22 and 2025. So you get their 1 and 25 and Devontae Adams. And then you'd have the Raiders and Houston's pick for this draft. Wouldn't hate it. I mean, the key would be getting next year's 1. Devontae's an old player now. I mean, he's in his 30s. He's expensive. You would almost, I'm not saying doing them a favor because he's still a really good player. But I would say, like, that's the kind of creativity, though, Fishbowl Flash, I would want to see from myself, Monty Ossenford. Like, give me some picks, and then we've got the money. We can take on Devontae Adams for a couple of years and let him cook with Kyler Murray. I don't hate that at all.
This scenario has Marvin Harrison Jr. going 3rd. So you've got 2 quarterbacks off the board. You've got the quarterback tax that's back in play.
Yeah.
That you can drive that price up. And, you know, the Bears look like they're going to stick and pick. Washington, they're going to stick and pick. There's going to be a team that's going to want to move up that hasn't had the opportunity to do so, unlike last year's draft with, you know, Carolina making the move in February or early March.
Yeah.
It was in February. That like the Arizona Cardinals are going to benefit from that. Somebody is going to panic trade, and Monty Ossenford, looking as handsome as ever, like us on the pod right now, he's going to wheel and deal. It's not just going to be like, oh, is there anybody that wants to come up and get this edge? No, it's a quarterback, and you're going to get that. You're going to get a premium price in return for it, and that's why I think that's the next best move. And there's an opportunity to also do it. And I know this is where you get greedy. Bears fans, like, they're on Twitter just throwing out these scenarios left and right. Like, oh, we can trade down 1 spot and get a haul in return. It's just like,
no dummies.
You need to get a quarterback.
Put down the meatballs.
Focus on that.
Put down the meatballs. Put down the palm. and take your medicine.
Right.
Jordan Love rocked your shit, and he's in the divisional round. He looks like the real
the
deal.
youngest team in the league, which is
oh my god! If you talk about the biggest wake up reality for, I think it's twofold. They saw what Fields didn't do in the finale. They've seen the juggernaut that the Packers have become, and then they're just like, we have no choice, and you don't have a choice. Like I love everybody on Twitter, even the people that troll us. I cannot take you seriously as a football fan if you are not in unison. Caleb Williams to the Bears. What, like, Caleb Williams is before this season, we were talking about him generational, and he had a great year despite Cliff Kingsbury's best efforts. Justin Fields has won 10 games in 3 years.
Yeah.
It's over.
The cult of Justin Fields. It's dying off. It really is. The cult of Justin Fields. It is not it's not long for this world, and it's probably going to go to Atlanta or elsewhere. Because they're in a position to pivot. They're in a position to once again capitalize on a rookie-sized contract and get better play from that position, frankly. So, Tay saying, sorry, I just joined in. Did we already mention JG still Philly's ability to tackle yet? Cry, Eagles, cry. Look, do we need to do a full, like, eulogy for the Eagles at all, Johnny? I mean, you're pretty good
right now. Let's do it right now. You want to start?
Do you want to lead it? Like, just dearly beloved?
Yeah, dearly beloved. We are gathered here today to grave dance on what has been the most fraudulent team over the past 2 months, and their ridiculous, egregious, disrespectful fan base for what you did to our sweet baby Jonathan Gannon, and the fact that you bitched, whined, and complained last offseason when the Cardinals went about their business to hire their head coach. And you complained, and you got a 3rd-round pick swap. Congratulations. You have the biggest joke of a head coach in the NFL that looks like a high school football coach, with respect to high school football coaches out there. He has no business coaching a professional football team. You lost 2 generational coordinators, and it's great to drink the tears today. So congratulations to Philadelphia. You played yourself, and now everybody's laughing at you.
Eat shit, Big Dom.
Nice little addition there to their security guard who, I remember when Vic Fangio gave up 27 points in a negative 27-degree game, and they were crying that Jonathan Gannon cost them the ability to give Vic Fangio as a DC. I mean, look, and saying how it ruined lives and all this and that, all this hyperbole and over dramatic Philly stuff, like same stuff, insufferable crap that they feed you all the time. And now a strength that they had is immediately going away. Their center's retiring. We'll see what the rest of the offensive line turns into. And then you're going to have to start paying and cutting checks to Jalen Hurts and that huge extension that they signed him to. And they're going to take away their premium play that they used to run. The tush push is going away likely. What are they going to do in short yardage? It's going to be, we'll see what happens in Philly, but it's
the whole offense.
Basically.
How about this?
And AJ Brown is scrubbing his social media.
Love that. Get him out. Jalen Hurts is now 0-3 in the playoffs when his defense allows more than 7 points. 0-3. Can't win a playoff
understandable.
game. Yeah, for sure. Jonathan Gannon take care of that for you until he doesn't, until he's gone, and then he beats your ass in week 17 because you love to see it.
I mean, that's pretty tough to overcome when your defense gives up more than 7. That's tough.
Really tough. Ask Kyler Murray what that's like with Vance Joseph and Cliff Kingsbury. Got people on Twitter talking about Kyler and the hierarchy. I put a tweet out yesterday, basically like it's Brock Purdy, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, and who's the other one? Baker Mayfield. Are the final 4. You should feel damn good about Kyler Murray, and the Cardinals feel great about it. I got people saying like he's not a winner. Like, grow up. Come on, guys. Look at the NFC. Trash. If the Cardinals can build. Go ahead.
He beat Philly's ass. They came rallying behind him. He goes 3-5 with that. Over the same time, you had Jalen Hurts and that Philly team almost go 0-7. They're one Giants win on Christmas away, where they started. Yeah, they if they didn't start Tommy Cutlets, Tommy DeVito, they probably win that football game. Tyrod Taylor was dealing.
He's great. Then you beat him later. It's great. Jack Smith saying, can we get AJ Brown from Philly? I would say probably not. Too expensive. I think they're going to fire.
He's not very expensive next year. He's only got like a $12 or $14 million cap hit, but then it goes up exponentially and it's tough. But and then he's got some void years on it. So if you, I just don't think it, and especially with the type of player that you want to bring in
right now.
Yeah,
like they want. If AJ Brown was the final piece of a championship team, just like when the Niners traded for like Chase Young, you can do that. But Cardinals, I mean, that's the point of this offseason. They're trying to find the next AJ Brown. As cliche as that sounds, I know that sounds ignorant, but thankfully Steve Keim's not pulling the trigger. Get your barf bags out because we're going to do a live mock draft, and we have to look at pick 27. And we're looking at pick 35, and we're going to do a better job than Dane Brugler respectfully did this morning for the Arizona Cardinals. But before we get to our mock, I want to tell you about our friends with the Arizona Cardinals, Desert Financial Credit Union, the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals and the Venerable household. I don't know if Monty Ossenford uses Desert Financial, but he should, because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union, dedicating to creating exceptional experiences by giving back to the community and providing solutions that make life better. Look to Desert Financial. Checking, savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. I can tell you right now, I switched credit unions to Desert Financial purely because customer service was aces. They've got a ton of locations in the Valley, just a place that helps you get your money when you need it. And best yet, represent the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Show your team spirit. Check them out online, desertfinancial.com/Cardinals to get started. Takes a couple minutes to open the checking account. Debit cards in the mail a couple days after the fact. Easy peasy. Take care of everything offhand. And I promise you will not be sorry. That's desertfinancial.com/Cardinals.
Talk about elite experiences. How about OG's? OG's is looking to make your cannabis gummy experience top notch. Visit ogsbrands.com. They just launched 2 great new products right now. They got the live rosin, the RSO, the Rick Simpson oil, and then the OG's naturals and the big OGs. The big OGs, they're bigger in your face, right? They're massive right now, and you can get them. It's a mega version of the RSO or the Peg's Raspberry Orange, the RSO, one of the company's most popular products, but it's huge. It's perforated into 10 slices, each 10 milligrams of THC each. That's 100 milligrams of THC overall. It's like that freshly squeezed juice. Check out OG's right now. They got the soft, bouncy, delicious cannabis gummies that you're going to love, you're going to crave, and they're going to give you the perfect cannabis experience that everybody's seeking out, tailored to what you're looking for from your gummy. Learn more. OG's Gummies, where you find them in your local dispensary. You got to be 21 years or older, and also check them out on your socials at OG's Brands and ogsbrands.com.
It's Tuesday, which means it's time for a mock draft with Johnny and Bo. Here we go. 3-round mock draft.
Great.
Arizona Cardinals. We'll get that jingle maybe sponsored.
And it's not
by
Johnny
somebody.
and Bo. It's Monty mock draft.
Monty mock drafts. Yes, with a
Full
couple.
Monty.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so for those of you who have not been on the PFF mock draft simulator, it is choice. It's elite. It's fantastic. We're going to enter the draft. I'm going to tell everybody right now, we've built in some extra time today. I plan on trading some picks today. I don't know how my counterpart feels, but buckle up, because we're going to have a haul for the ages that's going to be much better than Mr. Brugler at the Athletics.
It's going to be
get
you.
this party started. On the surface now, are you open to trading up for Marvin Harrison Jr. or not, Bo Brock?
Yeah, you're going to have to. I think you'll have a better pulse of which way the draft dominoes are going to fall come draft day, of whether or not, New England's feeling violent, and if they're going to take Marvin Harrison Jr. or if they're going to go with the quarterback. I still think we roll the dice and then just pivot from there. Just see what happens. Let it play out in front of us. I know that's not the best game planning, but let's just see how it goes. And we either decide, do you take somebody like Nabers? Do you look at the tackles, or do you trade down?
Starting the draft now, we went Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr. not available.
Yeah.
So again, we're looking at Malik Nabers, Joe Alt, never for Brock Bowers, ever. Roma Dunze at 7, and somehow Cooper DeJean has entered the equation here. That's horrifying. And with respect to Cooper DeJean, I'm not Trevor Sikkema, who builds this out. We're gonna have a conversation with Trevor off air. But I think now we go into the trade scenario here. Here are the teams that are interested. Vegas at 13, 14 of New Orleans, Minnesota at 11. I look at this and I'm thinking to myself, this is too far, Bo. Do you disagree with that?
That is, that drops you way down the draft board. They were a team that they won quite a few games to where they're down the draft board, but at the same time, they're not like in the 20s. But it's too far down the board for my taste. What else we got?
I would say let's call up the Tennessee Titans and see if Austin Ford still has some relationships with people there. I know it's Ron Carthen, but they made deals last year during the draft. I think we force a trade here. We go 4 and we go 7. So they're not interested. We're going to make them interested.
No,
am I right?
No.
Give them an offer they can't refuse.
If we can get somebody interested. You don't think we can get somebody interested in the 4th overall selection?
I think the teams that are interested are these teams. You want to go Minnesota? That's where we'd have to be lit. So you'd have to go a 1 this year, a 1 next year, pick 42. They're not into that. I mean, we're talking about watered down. This feels gross to me. Minnesota's got their act together. This could be another Houston scenario.
Yeah, I mean, they get good quarterback play that elevates that roster. I mean, that really felt like it was a team that was a quarterback away from really making some noise.
Come on, let me force a trade. I want to force one. The Titans need a quarterback. Who's your quarterback? Will Levis? Come on.
I think the Falcons. I agree with Damon. I think you go with the Falcons.
We're going to force the Falcons. All right. So which pick do you have to have in this situation?
A future one.
You think you're getting a future one
to come up into the top 10 or top 5 to get a quarterback?
Yeah. Okay, so you're getting, and then
you were at 3, and you took the team at 12, went up to get a pass rusher last year.
Okay, all right. So, and then what else? 43.
I I think if you get that future one, like you could probably drop it to a 3.
So you're content with this? 8, 74, and the 2025 first rounder, knowing Bill Belichick could coach this team. They've got skill players everywhere, and they're going to draft Jaden Daniels potentially. I mean, you're okay with this because this pick could be late teens, early 20s next year.
Let's see. It's your boy saying 27-35, 2025 first round pick for the Texans. Let's see.
I think I need 43 to be included.
Okay. Whatever you need, buddy.
Okay, buddy. That sounds disingenuous.
No.
All right, so
Look,
we're making the trade.
Okay.
Bill Belichick's on the phone. He knows Austin Ford from their time in New England together. He's running the Falcons. He says, I just need my quarterback. Jaden Daniels in the dome would be electric. I agree with that. Cardinals, we're comfortable. We're dropping to pick 8, 43, and a future one. We're forcing the trade, and we're resuming the draft. And now we are at pick 8, and I think the choice is pretty obvious.
So they go, who'd they get up? They took Malik Nabers?
Well, we're just going to pretend that they took Jaden Daniels.
Who goes to the Chargers here? Is that Brock Bowers?
Roma Dunze.
Okay, so there's a runner.
Jaden Daniels goes 6 to the Giants. Alu Fashanu goes to the Titans.
All right, so we're going to take Joe Alt here, 8th overall.
That's a huge. If they could pull something off like that, that's a huge win.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we enter the dead zone, which is what I'm going to start referring to pick 27 as. It's the dead zone. I hate it here. This is the Walking Dead with respect to these players. Look at the players that we missed out on.
We're going to have him grade this draft.
Okay, Damon's going to grade it. This is where we should have been living with Jerzon Newton, Dallas Turner, and Latu, and Verse, and these guys now, and J.C. Latham, Brian Thomas Jr., and Jordan Morgan. Like, times are tough here. It's I don't want to say it's slim pickings because we're still in the first round, but these ain't household names anymore. Bo Brock, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as much as like I like Braswell, I think it's too much right now at this spot. Same thing goes for Lassiter. The tackle out of Fontenot out of Washington, I still think it's early there. So, I mean, if you want to try to see what's available on the market.
Yeah, I'm doing that again. I think the 44, you would need. What could you do here? Wow.
They don't have so you would trade out of the.
What could you do here? 44, 77, 112. So you get 3 picks for 1. That do anything for you?
Yeah, a little bit.
We're about a third rounder next year. So you would flip 27 for 44, 77, and a third next year. Is that too watered down? Chat, tell me if this is too watered down, I'll back away.
You're going down nearly 20 picks.
Not enough, people are saying.
Yeah.
How about this? Call up old Washington, 36, 67. Okay. 100. No. You want me to offer this?
Yeah, see what happens.
Yeah. Okay.
Crap.
We have more picks. All right. So we got out of the first. Look at that, back to back, and we got some options now. Troy Fontenot, Washington.
I like that tackle.
Easy choice. Yep. We're gonna go him. And now we're looking at a couple fringe wide receivers. You're serious?
Keon Coleman over McConkey out of Georgia.
Oh, I forgot we haven't taken a wideout yet.
Yeah.
I literally blacked out. So we've gone 2. So is Fontenot playing guard now next to Joe Alt?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I have no issue with that. We're off the rails here. The mock draft's officially off the rails. We will go Keon Coleman here. And then we have another pick 43. And I think it's obvious with Byron Murphy. What do you think, Bo?
Yeah.
I like this pick here. Byron Murphy, the second. I've seen some waves where people think he's going to be a top 10 pick. We're going to jump on him now. Excellent value at pick 43. Then we've got back-to-back in the third round. Is this too rich for Jonathan Brooks at either 66 or 67?
I mean, I think you still go back to the D-line and take Tavondre Sweat over Brooks in this position.
You're going 2 defensive linemen from the same university.
Yeah, you need it.
What if we took 3 straight Texas players? Ricky Purcell, I took in a prior mock draft, and our GM Saul Bookman publicly chastised me. He said that was terrible value. So, should we have some fun and take Jonathan Brooks here? The last time we did it, the chat was furious.
I think you still need to look at the defense. We need some corner help. I don't know so much about it. Corner out of Wake Forest.
ACC defenders, my favorite. We're going to look at the trade market again. Oh, it's our friends, the Las Vegas Raiders. 77, 67, future third. Nope. 112. That do anything for you? We don't have to make the pick today.
Sure.
Wow. The enthusiasm is off the charts for my co-host, Bo Brock.
We need to reset this. We need to do one more of these before we get out of here.
We're going to do another mock draft?
Yeah, this was trash.
This one's not trash. You're trash. Brendan Rice, do anything for you? Hey, how about Jalen McMillan?
Yeah, McMillan had a touchdown in the championship game. He was a nice compliment to Dunze this year. So over 6 feet.
McMillan. Can't believe you call my mock draft trash.
Okay, if you want to put your name on this, go ahead, sign off on it.
I'm going to finish this mock draft. I'm going to finish it with Trey Benson.
Yeah.
And then I think this is a good lesson for everybody out there that sometimes trading down is not always the best option.
Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State is a big mauling guard. I really like him.
We already have our O-line set. Sorry. So sorry. All right, whatever. I'll take him. All right. Cooper is a Cardinal. All right. We're going to have everybody grade our mock draft here. This is the most
garbage.
It's not garbage.
Just crumple it up and throw it in the trash. Look at this. They're going to laugh.
That's garbage? It's an A. PFF says it's an A. You think why is it garbage? Tell me why it's garbage.
Because we went tackle. We don't need to do that.
That Fantanu plays guard.
Let's run it back real quick.
Wow.
First 6 picks are all doubled up positions.
Yeah.
2 tackles, 2 receivers, 2 D-line.
This was embarrassing. I apologize.
Don't apologize. Don't apologize to them.
Let's get it. Let's get a real Monty mock draft.
Here's a lesson for everybody. Yeah. Here's a lesson.
Monty Ossenford said on the inaugural Monty mock draft, that's what you guys did.
Here's a lesson. If you don't trade up for Marvin, that's what it's going to look like on draft night. It's a fucking horror show. So I'm going to tell you right now, you like that reality, Cardinal fans? Where Cooper DeJean's around? No, you want to make sure you get your guy. Picks are great until you got to make them, until people aren't on the board. I'm trading up for Marvin here. We're trading up for Marvin right now. Enough of this shit. Enough of this. All right, so we're going up to New England, pick 3. This is what we're doing.
What are you giving up?
You know what I'm giving up.
You've lost it.
Pick 90. Offer trade.
You've lost. Thank
God.
Pick
71. Offer trade.
Stop. All right. Stick and pick. Let's go. Roll the dice.
Shut up, Bill. All right. Here we go. He's gone. Malik Nabers goes 3rd overall. Somehow, shockingly, Marvin's a Cardinal. They did us a favor. They rejected our trades, and then they didn't even take the player we wanted. All right. Now what's
that's because we told them. We got on the phone. We said, we want Malik Nabers. And like, the hell you do? We're taking his ass.
All right, Bo. Since this is your genius mock draft, what's happening here?
I don't mind Jordan Morgan here.
I heard Jordan Morgan's coming back to school to play for Coach Brennan. I heard that's happening.
Too soon,
Coach Brennan with his shirt off and his surfboard.
What the hell, man?
All right, Jordan Morgan. This is a great scenario. I would sign up for this.
Yeah, league him. This really is way Jordan better. Morgan. All right.
What do you think here?
All right, now we start looking at the defense, right? We just went offense. You got the wide receiver, Marvin Harrison Jr. You got Jordan Morgan at a University of Arizona. And now we got to start to look at, some edge options, some corner options, some edge defensive line. Yeah, I don't mind Taylor.
Can I talk you into Fatanu, back-to-back lineman that's not in the top 10?
No.
Okay, jerk. Okay,
What about
bro.
Chris Jenkins?
Chris Jenkins for sure. I know he's down the board a little bit. It's just we've done that a couple. And Kalen King too, the Penn State corner is good too.
No Penn State defenders.
Byron Murphy as well is making big plays. What are you thinking?
I saw Miami's defense a lot this year. It was really bad, especially like in the ACC when the quarterback play wasn't great. You can't tell me Leonard Taylor,
Jenkins, Byron Murphy, or Kalen King. So either two defensive linemen or okay.
You can't tell me that
you just took him. He just took him, by the way.
Yeah, I did. You can't tell me that Chris Jenkins isn't a better product than some sophomore from Miami. I watched Chris Jenkins dominate every
the case for that.
Well, I'm just speaking in generalities. I'm not arguing with you. I'm arguing with Trevor at PFF. Chris Jenkins is a first round caliber defensive lineman. He's dominant. He's exactly what the Cardinals need. I like that pick a lot. All right, we're at 66 now, and we've got 71. Is this an area where you would consider Jeremiah Trotter?
I mean, you do need help beyond because you're white. You got both Josh Woods and Chris Barnes who are going to be free agents. But still think you need corner. You need to prioritize corner, and you could always use help on the defensive line. And you talk about the offensive line. You got the Christian Haynes out of UConn, who's the top guard.
I think you can get him at 71.
Okay.
Man, it just you talk about non-premium positions, linebacker.
Edgerrin Cooper is getting. Somebody said that in the Han Shot First likes Edgerrin Cooper, the linebacker.
Is he a traditional stand-up? Oh man, a great year. Okay, I'll 6'3", 230. It's not Gannon's traditional guy, but I mean
it's closer to it.
Yeah, 230,
240, 250.
I don't have a problem with that. SEC over ACC, you know how I feel. And then here, you want to come back with Christian Haynes at guard?
Sure.
Okay. I feel like we're playing a little bit more in our traditional sandbox here. And then the last pick, which is always going to be reserved for what running backs on the board. Are you back in the position where you would consider Blake Corum at the end of the third round?
At 5'8", I mean, he's a playmaker.
I think it'd be pretty cool to get like two of the top 3 to 4 players on Michigan's team that won a national championship on your roster. I think like you can sell a lot of Cardinal fans that. And again, if Blake Corum, all he does is
can you bring up the running backs that are available?
I sure can. Yeah. I think right now they're in a position where they would be smart to try to find the heir apparent to James Conner, but James Conner keeps defying all odds. So what if James Conner's around for 2 more years instead of 1? Yeah.
I've always maintained I liked Edwards more as like a every down type back.
He didn't declare. He's going back to school.
All right.
I think, listen, he plays bigger than his size, and while a lot of people would say the same about all these undersized receivers the Cardinals drafted, I watched him put people on the ground against Ohio State. I mean, he's a special player. Now, they really didn't like either one of these Michigan picks, but it's like, they were the 2 best players on Michigan this year. I have no issue with that.
A-. Somehow that other crap box draft, just because we had 1 million picks, we got a higher grade. Damon, will you tell us how we did on this draft? There he is.
What's up, guys? I really like this draft. I think the first 2 picks are probably ideal.
I like the first 3 picks.
I meant to say first 3 actually, and then linebacker I could do without in that spot, but get a guard, get a backup running back later on. I'll give it a B+, A-. I like A-. I'll stick with A-. I'll go with PFF here.
Any situation that number 18 is a Cardinal, that mock is immediately of A quality.
That's fair,
in my opinion. So that's where we're living. Damon Dog, you look beautiful. Does everybody in the chat. I see people now. Now I can see the chat. I couldn't see the chat when I was sharing my screen. I see a lot people referring me to as Johnny Kime, and I take immense offense to that. That mock draft that you saw that I put together was the opposite of Kime. That's how you build a championship team. The second mock was fine, but I don't appreciate the disrespect on a special day like today, Monty Austin Ford debut day here on PHNX Cardinals. But whatever, that's fine.
You know, we have off days as Monty Austin Ford. Good thing is Boston Ford himself never has off days. He's looking at tape. He's putting in the work. He's not going to put forth some effort that he's just going to scrap like we just did. But
I'd like to take, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to take an off day and go to some burros because I need it right now. Did you go to some burros for lunch today?
I did. Took advantage of Taco Tuesday, $2.50 tacos yesterday. Mondays, Margarita Monday. You get half off on your margaritas. Some burros. It's tough to beat what's going on right now. Each and every day at Arizona's favorite and most loved Mexican restaurant. I visit and frequent the one on 7th Street in Camelback once a week. Me and the fam are in there. Kids getting the Nino's quesadilla meal with the beans and the rice. My wife is getting the number 9, 2 folded tacos with shredded beef, and I'm mixing it up. I always got my marg, but I'm also mixing it up. Got the tostada and taco meal yesterday. They got combos for everyone. Check it out. Many chimneys. So much to offer from some burros. You can get them for your next event. You're going to have some people over to watch the divisional round, conference championships. How about a Super Bowl party? Go get yourself a Fiesta platter right now from Some Burros. Go to someburros.com. That's SOME burros.com. Learn more about Arizona's most loved Mexican restaurant.
I laid the foundation for a better tomorrow for the Arizona Cardinals with my mock draft. Lay the foundation for a better flooring in your home with Empire today. Hook up with a home convenient product that's quick, easy, and professionally installed. And guess what? They do a price match guaranteed. Empire today is the best place to get new flooring. And of course, they've got their copycats, so be on the lookout, but they won't compromise their low prices, and they're going to be easy, quick, and convenient. Check them out today, empiretoday.com/PHNX. Again, you get home, you're at your home, the service is quick, it's efficient, it's easy. You talk about premium flooring that can't be emulated by anybody else. They've got everything. Check them out. I encourage you, if you're thinking about new flooring, I know that can be a pain in the you-know-what. I've had it done myself. I've had it done incorrectly, right? Empire Today keeps shopping for floors simple with a curated product selection that is there. The philosophy really at the end of the day is to help you find what you need. empiretoday.com/PHNX. Tell them that PHNX sent you, and you'll be happy that you did for that sweet, sweet discount. empiretoday.com. Also check us out, gophnx.com. Become a diehard. Again, announcement time. Post-show, when are we going to do this? On Thursday. Post-show on Thursday, we will be continuing the conversation in our PHNX Cardinals Discord. The only way you can have access to that open Q&A about anything, you got to become a diehard at gophnx.com. And if that doesn't get you excited, check out the many workings of our talented peers at gophnx.com. I'm going to have some insight dropping here in the coming weeks. Our guy, Gerald Bourguet dropping insight, Craig Morgan, tons of good stuff, Jesse Freeman for PHNX Diamondbacks. And then, of course, pick up a free hat and or shirt. If you got a bald head like this, you want to cover it up, get a free PHNX Sports, PHNX Cardinals hat at the diehard PHNX locker. You will not be sorry that you did. It is for free every single year. You are a diehard. Again, post-show discussion within the diehard PHNX Discord this coming Thursday. Do not miss it.
Step in saying Bo should make the mock draft choices. Kime on the left sticks.
I am going to quit this show. I will never return. Get
David
Dog back. Damon, put yourself back on screen right this instant. Did you really think my mock was that bad?
The first one, I mean, I just hate when in mocks when we make 3 different trades. How many picks do the Cardinals have? 11, and we needed 6 more. That's crazy.
I tried to trade up. I am in the business of certainty with this draft, and I wasn't allowed to. My hands were tied by my GM to the right of me. So then I was in a position where I felt like the value just wasn't there. Sorry, I'm not in the business of overdrafting, guys.
I'm fine with the trade up.
Let's just take Cooper DeJean with every pick. Let's just do that. Can we do that?
That'd be an A+.
So I think that we learned some valuable lessons today. I
haven't learned anything.
You certainly haven't. Dane Brugler, he overdrafted every single guy he took in his draft, right?
Yeah.
He takes Nabers at 4. He takes Kingsley out of BYU at 27, and then in the second round takes Chop Robinson. Is who might have been I don't know. He's the third best pass rusher, but you're going to take him at that spot. And then we're just wheeling and dealing, making too many trades, and then I finally got it right a little bit. Anytime you get Marvin Harrison Jr., it takes off the sting of a poorly performed mock draft. But we got it right, I think, in the third attempt. The Monties put their bald heads together, and we had a successful draft at the end of the day.
Those first 3 picks were money.
They were. Jordan Morgan.
Ethan Dumpet, $4.99 super chat. What do we think about the Texans first or 2 seconds for CeeDee Lamb? I would love for CeeDee Lamb to be a part of this team. Steve Keim blew that opportunity. The Dallas Cowboys are not going to let CeeDee Lamb go. The Cardinals tried their CeeDee Lamb light trade for Hollywood Brown. They're going to draft a receiver for Kyler Murray. CeeDee Lamb, Cardinals blew that, Ethan. I get that question a lot. It's a fair question. I love CeeDee Lamb. I loved him coming out of that draft. The Cardinals took Isaiah Simmons, and it was a huge mistake.
Dallas is obviously the sting of the performance that they put up over the weekend. They're reeling, right? And they're finding out what direction they're going to go. CeeDee Lamb is not happy. Nobody should be happy after that, right? But Johnny's completely you have the triple crown winner in the NFL as far as wide receivers goes, touchdowns, yards, receptions. They're not going to let him go. It's not a Devontae Adams situation up in Green Bay where he wants to go play at that point with his old college quarterback or just go kind of like find his own way in the NFL. And that was a mistake, but I just don't think that CeeDee Lamb is going to try to really force his way out of Dallas, and Dallas isn't going to let him go for that cheap.
With the Cowboys facilitate trade, no, like if CeeDee requests it, CeeDee loves Dallas. He's a superstar there. He gets endorsement deals that, frankly, you probably wouldn't have an opportunity to get here in Arizona. And I see Trey saying 27 and 66 for Lamb. I don't know if the Cowboys would do 4th overall for CeeDee Lamb. Like I think we're underscoring how great CeeDee Lamb was this year. He was the best wide receiver in the NFL this year. And the Cardinals, now the good news is he went in the late teens, so it can be done. But you got to pick the right one. And the Cardinals are going to attempt to do what they did last year with Paris Johnson Jr. Paris Johnson Jr. represented all of the missed offensive linemen of the history of this franchise since they've come to Arizona, DJ Humphries excluded. Like Paris Johnson Jr. was the outlier because of Monty Ossenford, because he knew what he was doing. Somebody like Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Nabers or Rome Odunze is going to have to wash away the bad taste in our mouth from the last half decade of trash at the position, with respect to guys like Andy Isabella and Hakeem Butler and Christian Kirk leaving and Rondell Moore and trading for Hollywood Brown and D-Hop having the one good year and then not producing. They have used so many resources at receiver. Find the next Paris Johnson Jr. at the position. That's their goal.
I agree with this. Let's get to 100 likes, y'all. Let's get to 200 likes here on this video. We appreciate it. Competitive. Obviously, PHNX, Suns, and Coyotes, and D-backs, they say that their fan base holds it down and represents the best as far as Valley sports go. We disagree. Cardinals fans are the most passionate, so show your passion. Drop a like right now for Monty mock draft.
You like what you see?
Tuesday, yeah.
You like what you see?
You want us to be able to afford these sweet little bald caps that we got on Amazon?
These aren't free. These kind of special effects that cost money here.
This is CGI. This isn't actually just it's not a bald cap. This is costing us $1 million per half hour.
No, we're Christopher Nolan. We do everything practical here. We do it ourselves. We do it live every single day, 4:30, the PHNX Cardinal podcast, premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star. Damon, one more time. Put your bald head on this screen right now. In unity, we salute Monty Ossenford in this offseason, mock draft season. We continue. For Bo Brack, Damon Dog, I'm Johnny Venerable. We're back on a Wednesday. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.